Well, we're incredibly lucky that in California there is such strict mitigation, so that there is requirement for there to be a paleontologist anytime you're digging in native soils. That way, any fossil or artifact that peeks out of that dirt is seen immediately and can be saved. These laws don't exist everywhere, and so fossils are probably being lost all the time. But in Los Angeles, all those fossils, they're being saved for going into museums for your children and your children's children to enjoy.
Excavation, the walls, the neighbors, the noise from the neighbors.
I think in California we have the distinction as having some of the most stringent environmental rules anywhere in the country and possibly the world. So it behooves us to work very closely with the paleontologist, to work very closely with the contractor, and develop a set of best practices that will help us preserve the fossil record but still get our project done.
A little back towards me.
Okay.
There you go.
We're thinking female because of the size of the birth canal?
Absolutely, yes. I think we're going to have a female, and then we can connect this to the ribs and the vertebrae that we found from the same site. The preservation of the bone is fantastic. You usually don't get bone this well preserved outside of things like tar pits, but there's no asphalt in any of this bone. This is just naturally preserved. The first thing that happens is the fossil has to be stabilized. So if it's dirty, it has to be cleaned up. If it's broken, it has to be put back together. That frequently involves using consolidants because the bone has been sitting around for thousands of years, and now you've taken it out of its natural environment. You've taken it out of the dirt, you've taken it out of the mud, and so it's drying out, it's exposed to the elements for the first time since the ice ages, and so you actually have to apply chemicals and other consolidants to it so that it will still hold its shape and hold together, not just for the immediate future, but for the far-flung future, so that 50 years from now, 100 years from now, paleontologists will still have that fossil ready to examine.
This is important because it gives scientists insight into what this area right here looked like 20, 30, 50,000 years ago, and gives us an understanding of how the ecosystems, the environment, and the animals in Los Angeles have changed over the last thousands of years in response to a couple of factors that we're really interested in today. Climate change, which is something that's of course of great interest to people today and was also something that the world was experiencing when most of these large animals went extinct, and also how human activities can impact ecosystems, because around the time that humans arrived in the Americas is also around the time when we see most of these big animals that people are so excited about finding here go extinct.